What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the stimulus package update, daily news, everything you need to know about on a daily basis, money, investing, the stock market. Remember, new videos come out here every day on our channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. We got lots to discuss here today in this video. We have updates on the $1,400 stimulus checks, the $2,000 stimulus checks that we have groups pushing for it to be included in this next stimulus package. We also have an update on checks that are going out tomorrow for millions of people. Yeah, it's that time of the month. As well as multiple updates on the stimulus package and what is going on in our country here today. So sit tight. This is going to be a good episode here for you today. Lots to talk about here in this video. And I'd like to thank today's video sponsor, Drop. Drop is a completely free mobile app that rewards you for shopping at your favorite brands. When you make purchases at your favorite store, Drop will reward you with points for your purchase. These points are as good as cash and can be redeemed at many of your favorite stores like Starbucks, Amazon, and more. And by linking your credit or debit cards to Drop, it's even easier to earn rewards. When you link your cards to the app, Drop will automatically add points into your account, even when shopping in person with those linked cards. It's that simple. Download Drop for free by following the link in the description of this video or in the pinned comment of this video. And for a limited time, Drop is giving all of our subscribers 10,000 points worth up to $10 when you sign up for the Drop app via the link down below. Okay, several things to discuss here. First up, stimulus check update. A fourth payment would be critical for many, a new study says. These things are really good because it shows Congress the need for more stimulus checks. So sometimes Congress says, another stimulus check isn't really needed. They don't really need it. So when these new studies come out that shows Congress that there is a need for a new stimulus check, these are really good studies. It really shows them. As you can see here, this is as of today, October 14th. So this is really, really good here. Let me show you this. As the U.S. confronts rising inflation, slower job gains, and a crippled supply chain, a new study finds that Americans most in need of a stimulus check at the beginning of the pandemic continue to suffer the most. Does that sound familiar? The 3 rounds of stimulus checks spanning 2 presidencies were critical to lower earners. Researchers with the Capital One Insight Center found, but that they didn't go far enough. The study started in the spring of 2020 with the authors administering surveys to a national representative group of Americans every 4 to 8 months to learn more about the virus's impact from how they used their stimulus checks to view of the U.S. economic recovery. The respondents fell into 3 annual income groups: less than $25,000 per year, $25,000 to $100,000 per year, and over $100,000 per year. Lower earners were much more likely than other groups to have spent the final stimulus payment on bills, the study found. Part of the reason for that, researchers said, was the lack of recovery for the nation's poorest. The study found that while job and income loss was devastating during the spring of 2020 at the wave of the virus in the U.S., how Americans fared in the year since has varied greatly depending on several factors. During the spring, 32 to 36% reported income loss, a number that hasn't changed much for the lower third of income earners. For the other 2 groups, however, the study found that only half of responders were still reporting income loss. Underemployment was also 12% more likely among Black and Hispanic Latinx workers than white workers. Economic insecurity was also a common theme among middle earners, however. The study found that debt levels were higher for 1 in 5 respondents in the spring of 2021 than before the pandemic. Interesting. In 2020, real incomes and the number of full-time workers were already tumbling. Very interesting there as well. The median household income in the US went down by 2.9% from 69,560 in 2019 to 67,000 in 521 in 2021. The first time it had significantly dropped since 2011. The real median earnings fell 1.2% from 42,000 to 41,000, as did the number of full-time workers, which fell by 13.7 million. Wow. The number of full-time workers fell by 13.7 million. Wow. That is a lot. The calls for a fourth stimulus check for many Americans finding the money looming mortgages, credit cards, and utility bills is a monthly cycle of anxiety. The study found that in April of 2021, 46% of low earners said they would have come up short in paying their expenses without the stimulus money. Wow, that's almost half. After the third stimulus check, the $1,400 under the American Rescue Plan, that balancing act became tougher for many low earners. And nearly a third of low earners reported in August of 2021 that they had to borrow money from friends and families to take care of their bills. Nearly 1/3 of low earners, I mean, that's literally tens of millions of people, had to borrow money from friends and families. Wow. The cost of childcare compounded the struggle to pay bills for many, with 50% of low earners and 30% of middle earners saying in August that they were either forced to cut back on working to take care of children or give up their jobs entirely. Wow. 50%. Woo. Now, when you combine this with this that came out today as well, foreclosures are surging now that COVID mortgage bailouts are ending. Yeah, so now that mortgage bailouts are ending and mortgage forbearance is ending or has ended for a lot of people, pandemic-related mortgage bailouts are ending and foreclosures are now rising. Foreclosures started jumping 32% in the third quarter of this year, and the second quarter were 67% higher than the third quarter of 2020. Wow. The foreclosure numbers should stay relatively low because of aggressive modifications by lenders, but are also because of high levels of home equity. So now these are going to start jumping even higher because of mortgage bailouts are ending and mortgage forbearance is ending. Now they could bring this back as a kind of stimulus, another stimulus type item to bring relief to homeowners. That is another stimulus type item they could bring back, which would be mortgage forbearance. So that is something they could do in the future. So yeah, we do have this brand new study that shows the need for a fourth stimulus check is very, very great. So again, let's hope that Congress takes notice here. We do have the senior citizens group calling and advocating at Congress, with Congress, for a $1,400 stimulus payment to be added into this package. That has been making a lot of media noise, a lot of media coverage. We're covering it here on our show. It's been on the news. It's been literally making national media coverage. Of course, we also have the change.org petition, which is also nearing 3 million signatures. And there you can see here, this petition is at 2.926 million signatures. At 3 million signatures, this petition becomes one of the top signed on change.org, one of the top signed petitions ever in the history of petitions in the entire country. So remember that these petitions do actually make a difference. Remember, the second stimulus check didn't even have the bill was written and didn't even have a stimulus check in there. And the outcry and the petitions and the support and people just demanding that, what are you doing? You can't write a bill without a stimulus check in there. And they literally forced Congress to change their mind and add a stimulus check in there for the second stimulus check. So these things do actually make a difference, and they literally forced Congress to change their mind and made people like Senator Bernie Sanders stand up and say, you know what, you're right. We do need to change our mind and add a stimulus check in there. New stimulus payments are arriving Friday, as you can see here from foxbaltimore.com. Here's how many more payments are arriving. Of course, if you're getting these, you probably know what they're talking about. They're talking about the child tax credit payments, which go out on the 15th of every month, and that would be tomorrow, October 15th, which go out to about 65 million children. So yeah, tomorrow would be October 15th. And in fact, you may have already received your direct deposits. Sometimes people have been receiving these early. So let our viewers, our community know if you've gotten them early. Some people have been getting them late. Unfortunately, there have been some snafus with the IRS as they send out 65 million payments every month. It seems like every month there are some snafus, for lack of a better word. I always find that an interesting word. That one month there was a bunch of direct deposits that didn't go out and they sent out paper checks. One month there was a big delay on checks, and it seems like every single month they have some sort of issue. So please keep that in mind. I do want to give you this link though. If you have any issues getting your child tax credit payments, if you've not gotten your payments at all, and you have children and you're eligible, I'll put these links for you down below in the description of this video. Who qualifies for the payments? You can manage your payments, check to see if you're enrolled, view your payment status, view your payments. In the coming months, you will be able to use this tool to notify the IRS about changes in your circumstances, update your bank account, your mailing address, all this stuff. If you're a non-filer and you don't file tax returns, you are eligible to receive these child tax credit payments. Okay, you can see here, if you aren't required to normally file a tax return and you haven't given us your information already, you will need to give us your basic information for the child tax credit by entering your information here. This is the official IRS website. You can check to see if you're eligible for payments, all sorts of information here. I will put this link down below in the description of this video. I will also put another link in the description of this video, which is getctc.org, which has all sorts of information here, which might also be helpful for you as well. If you're on a mobile phone, you might need to click the down arrow next to the title, or maybe even click the title to kind of open up the description area, which will have the links in there. If I see some people say that, Jimmy, I only got one payment out of the last like 4, you probably need to go on the IRS website and log in. If you've never done it before, you're probably going to need to create an account and even go through an ID.me verification. They're probably going to have you maybe even upload your driver's license and maybe even take a picture of your face and scan your face. I know it sounds kind of creepy, but it's so that they can verify who you are and make sure that there's no fraud and nobody's trying to steal your identification. So if you've never done it before, it's through the IRS, and it's making sure that you are who you say you are and that nobody's trying to steal your ID. So, but if you're missing payments, or if you haven't gotten your payments at all, you probably want to do this, or you can call the IRS, and I'll give you that number here as well. For anybody that needs to call the IRS, you can literally just go to Google and type in IRS phone number. You can see it right here, 1-800-829-1040. Just like if you have to file a 1040 form, 1-800-829-1040. You can call the IRS. If you're missing your third stimulus check, call the IRS. If you're missing stimulus check 1 or 2, You can call the IRS, but I'll tell you what you need to do for that. You really just need to file a tax return for 2020. And on line 30, you can claim the amount owed to you. If you're missing, say, stimulus check number 2, you can put on line 30, $600, and you can claim that. You can also file an amended tax return for stimulus check 1 or 2 and claim that. You can't do that for stimulus checks number 3 yet because that's for the year 2021, and the year 2021 is not yet over. Joe Manchin's in the news yet again today. You can see here liberal lawmakers in the House and the Senate are calling for the social safety net programs, aka the next stimulus package, to be as universal as possible. One, because it makes it easier to pass the package and they don't have to have all sorts of criteria and very difficult to pass programs and difficult wording and if it's universal, it's easier to pass. If you have all sorts of criteria and means testing, it just makes it a lot more difficult to pass. First of all, I'll just say that right off the top. Pushing back against centrist Joe Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, or a dino from West Virginia, calls for the programs to be means tested and targeted towards the lowest income households. They also want to provide benefits to families to start as quickly as possible, rather than having a delayed start date in an effort to minimize the price tag. Liberals won an early battle with centrists when the bipartisan infrastructure bill passed by the Senate was put on mothballs for a month, and centrists had been demanding a vote. This week, they appeared to win for a second time when Speaker Nancy Pelosi quickly walked back comments that suggested she preferred moderates' preferring approach to cutting the cost of the stimulus package. The overall cost of the reconciliation package is going to have to be cut down from the $3.5 trillion mark championed by Senator Bernie Sanders and other progressives in order to win the support of Senator Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema and some other centrist Democrats in the House. But progressives don't want the cuts to come from eliminating new forms of aid and other programs they want to launch. They argue that priorities such as childcare and education will be popular with the public, so lawmakers will feel the pressure to extend any temporary programs once they begin. They say if given a choice between legislating narrowly or broadly, we strongly encourage you to choose the latter and make robust investments over a shorter window. For example, like instead of extending the child tax credits for 4 more years, maybe extend them for 2 more years, and then later on, extend the child tax credit, those monthly checks, extend them for two years, and then a year or 2 from now, just extend them again. Congressional Progressive Caucus leadership said in a letter to Nancy Pelosi Wednesday. I personally think that's a good plan. I think I said that like yesterday or the day before as well. So instead of, just as an example, trying to extend the child tax credits all the way until 2025, I think they could do something like extend the child tax credits for 2 more years. And then once, 2 years is up or close to up, then go to extend it again. Both Republicans and Democrats are in favor of the child tax credits. Remember, former President Donald Trump back in 2017 raised the child tax credits from $1,000 to $2,000. And Republicans, like Senator Josh Hawley and a lot of Republicans are in favor of the child tax credits. The big difference with the Republicans, though, is that a lot of Republicans want there to be a earned income requirement. So they want you to have a job. That is where the big difference in Republicans and Democrats vary. Even Joe Manchin kind of wants there to be a job requirement or an earned income requirement. So that is where there is a big difference. So that is where if they don't have the 2 to 4 year passage, if they only pass it for say 2 years or 3 years instead of 4 years, that is where it could come into play down the road. But the problem is that because they're having to cut the package, I think they're probably going to have to cut the child tax credits I don't think it's likely to be 4 years. I think maybe they're going to cut it to 3 or maybe 2. I would think that would be a likely case scenario. So they're going to have to start trimming from multiple different areas. So I just think that that is a likely scenario that they're going to have to trim that, maybe trim the income threshold of the child tax credits. Joe Manchin suggested the putting the income requirement back on. Remember that the Democrats removed the income requirement where you basically needed to have a job. You needed to have an earned income requirement that used to be on there for many, many years. You would basically, you needed to have earned income. And then the Democrats removed that this year for the first time ever in the third stimulus check package. Joe Manchin is the only Democrat, as far as I'm aware of, that has said that. Republicans say that, but Joe Manchin is the only Democrat that says that, further making a lot of our viewers say that he's really a dino, a Democrat in name only. I haven't seen any other Democrats that say that, so I don't think that that is a likely thing that will get passed, that one specific criteria. But if they only pass the child tax credit, those monthly payments for, say, 2 years instead of 3 or 4, remember, all this is up for negotiation, so I'm just kind of letting you guys know the things that are likely to happen or could happen, the negotiation strategies here for all these different things. We talk about the Medicare, we talk about the prescription drug price, and we talk about all these different things here on our daily show, right? So all these things are up for negotiation, and everything is up for negotiation literally until the last moment, until the House signs it, the Senate signs it, and the President signs it. And remember that they added in the second stimulus check at the very last moment, literally 6 days before they passed the bill. In fact, the House wrote the bill and didn't include the stimulus checks in there, and they added them in at the very last moment. And the third stimulus check package, they wrote the bill, and the House passed the bill, and then the Senate significantly changed it and added in those $10,200 unemployment tax breaks, which basically gave anybody who had unemployment income for this year, but basically made it retroactive. So if you had unemployment income from 2020, you would have gotten a unemployment tax break for if you had unemployment income from 2020, and that meant anywhere from several $100s to several $1,000s. Some people got literally over $3,000 because of that tax break that they added in at the very last moment into the third stimulus check package. So I will keep you up to date on everything. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. Don't miss any videos at this point. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check update video next. And you can click here to see new Social Security increases that were just announced. Really big news on that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.